Hi guys, this is Danielle. Thank you so much for joining me for today's edition of the Danielle Daily. I have a great topic for you guys today on self-love and self-development. So, what parts of yourself do you want to let fly? What parts of yourself do you really want to let out? What skills do you have? What things about yourself are you holding back that you really want to express more? I'm really excited to talk about that today. It looks like you guys are already starting to hop on. This is a great hot topic. We all have parts of ourselves that we're not utilizing or that we're underutilizing, or maybe even that we've tucked away. So I am really excited for you guys to give me some feedback on what fabulous parts of yourself that you're not using right now and that you'd like to use more. So it looks like we have Tim Bischoff, Lee Daniel, Amber Parnell, Linda Jo Westrick, Tammy Keck. I am so happy that you guys have decided to hop in and chat with me today on the Danielle Daily about what parts of yourself you'd really like to let fly. So before we dive in, again, if you're just joining, I'm Danielle Watson. This is the Danielle Daily. This is your place to come to find something positive, something fun, and something inspirational every single weekday. During the month of October, I am here at 2:00 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Every single weekday. I'll be here all month long. I do recommend that you subscribe to these broadcasts if you want to be in the know after that, because after October, I will not be broadcasting at the exact same time every day. So you'll want to receive notifications so that you can pop in. So if you're not sure how to do that, if you're new to Facebook Live, up in the upper right hand corner, if you're watching the broadcast live, there should be 3 little horizontal dots. If you click those, you can select to subscribe and receive notifications. I would love it if you would like this broadcast. I'm already seeing little wows and hearts and thumbs ups going across the screen. There should be a little thumbs up sign where you can like this broadcast. That will help other people make it to our little positivity party. The more people we have here, the better. Please do that. I really appreciate it. If you really like what I'm saying or what somebody has shared in the comments, feel free to like or heart that. It really fills my heart to see those little thumbs ups and hearts going across the screen. I'm seeing them right now, so thank you so much. It looks like Nancy Lukasic has joined us, Michael Keck, Julio Gonzalez. He was my hero yesterday. I'll tell you later in the broadcast why. Michael Keck says, I look lovely today. Well, thank you so much. I'm actually just back from yoga class. So this is my yoga hair, and I did change my shirt because my other one was completely drenched and unladylike. But yoga is actually where I received my inspiration for today's broadcast, so I thought it was totally appropriate to just show up still in my yoga gear. So thank you for that compliment. It's very sweet. So several of you have just joined us. Again, I'm Danielle Watson. This is the Danielle Daily. This is your place to come every single weekday during the month of October for something positive, something fun, or something inspirational. And today we're talking about what parts of yourself you really want to let fly. We all have fabulous aspects to ourselves and to our personalities and skill sets that we're really not using. And so I wanted to kind of start some discussion today about what those parts are and how we might put them out there more. So I want you to start thinking about what fabulous parts of yourself are you not using right now. And you might have a really good reason for not using them, but that's not important. Just think about what those are, and I'd love it if you'd start putting some of those into the comments for me to read and consider. Also, if you are loving these positivity parties that we're having each day, on the left-hand side of your screen, there should be a little button that you can click to share. I would love it if you would think of just one person who you're Facebook friends with who would love to have something positive in their newsfeed. And whether you share it and they can join us now, or whether they watch it later, go ahead and share it anyways, because I've had a lot of people coming back to me later as they're watching these broadcasts after they've gone into record. I'm not using my words very well, but they're watching the recording and they're finding these very inspirational. I've had several people say that was exactly what they needed to hear today. So I'm imagining there's somebody you're Facebook friends with that has some kind of aspect to themselves that they're not utilizing right now, and this might be the exact message that they need to hear. So I encourage you to just click that little share button, choose just one Facebook friend who you think would benefit from hearing this, somebody who you know relies on you to tell them what the most interesting things are, the most positive things are, the kind of person who looks to you to be the first one to know about what's great out there, and share it with them. So more people are just joining us. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. I'm Danielle Watson. This is the Danielle Daily. It looks like Lawrence has tuned in. It's good to see his face. So we are talking about what fabulous parts of ourselves we want to let fly today. And as I was just saying, I just came from yoga class. I've still got my yoga clothes on, my yoga ponytail. But today, as I was in class, I was practicing a handstand. And I was sitting there sort of like with not sitting there, I had my rear in the air, my hands on the ground. And I was thinking about how free I felt and how wonderful it felt to be able to have a connection with all the different parts of my body that allow you to put your hands on the ground and start to try to put your feet up in the air. And it just felt so wonderful. And I thought about all the tiny little steps I've taken every single day for almost 2 years now that have allowed me to get to that point where I can enjoy trying to get into a handstand. And it has taken practice, it has taken discipline, but all along the way it has been so much fun. It's been so much fun finding that, I can hold a different position with my body for a longer time than I used to, or that I can do something new, or that I've become more flexible or more strong, or that I have arm muscles for the first time in my life, 37, and I finally have a bicep muscle. It's really exciting, and I love that, and I love that there are parts of myself that even at this age I'm still discovering, and there are parts of myself that I'm learning to use in new ways. And so I want you guys to think about what parts of yourself, what amazing, fabulous parts of yourself are you maybe underutilizing. So for those of you who've known me for a long time know that I used to have a business several years ago as a yoga teacher, but I never did a handstand. I never did many of the things that I'm doing now because it wasn't part of my practice. I was teaching a different style of yoga. So a lot of people who've known me for a long time are like, you should be really good at these things. But the fact is I may have had the ability. I've always had my same body, but I wasn't practicing those things, and so I wasn't expressing those parts of me. I wasn't using those abilities. I wasn't capitalizing on all the amazing things that my body could do. I wasn't experiencing the joy and the freedom of being able to stand on my hands and have my feet up in the air. I'm telling you, it's a very exciting feeling. Now today I didn't actually make it into a full handstand, but that wasn't the point. The point is just to practice and to play. And to do that, I had to use all the different parts of my body, including my mind, to stay focused. Looks like Nelson has just tuned in. Thanks for watching. So again, this is Danielle Watson. We are here with the Danielle Daily. Today's edition is about thinking about what fabulous, amazing parts of yourself you want to let fly. What do you want to just bring out more into the world? Think about the things about yourself that you have the capability and the ability to use, but maybe you're just not using them right now. Maybe you have a really good reason for that. Maybe it's just doesn't seem relevant, or you got some bad feedback from somebody, and so you have decided that you're not going to use that part of yourself. A little bit later in the broadcast, I am going to give today's note to self. Very excited to give you guys that, and also tell you why Julio is my hero today, because he did something to help me out yesterday. So let's see, does anybody have anything they want to share, anything about themselves that they feel like they're really not using? Go ahead and type that into the comments. And while you're doing that, I wanted to share another little story about me and something that I really wasn't utilizing. So again, if you've known me for a while, you know that I have a background in anthropology and archaeology, and for a number of years I didn't use that. In fact, during the years when I was a yoga teacher, I never even talked about it. I had this amazing skill set that archaeologists have, this ability to look at collections of items and understand the meaning behind them, and I just like tucked that away. I didn't do anything with it. It was just sitting there sort of laying dormant. And then at some point I recognized that that was a very valuable skill set, and there were many ways that I could apply it. And I chose to apply it in a very unconventional way, and I started creating this whole new way of using archaeology, and it culminated in me ending up giving a TEDx talk about how everyone has skills and knowledge that could be used in an unconventional way. And I'm sure most of you have probably seen the talk, but if you haven't, once the broadcast is over, I'll go ahead and put the link in the comments. But I had those amazing skills. They're pretty unique skills of an archaeologist, and I didn't use them at all because I didn't think they were relevant in my life. I didn't think that I could do anything with them. And I think so many of us have fabulous skills, we have attributes, we have parts of our bodies that we're not using. And I want to encourage you to think about how you can start to bring those things out in your life. So Amber says, I want to embrace my DIY skills. There are so many things I want to do around my house right now that I feel like I have to outsource. I know I'm capable, but just feeling a little intimidated or lacking motivation. So I love that. Wanting to be a little bit more DIY friendly. Yes, it's a wonderful way to develop skills that you didn't know you had, and then get to celebrate that amazing feeling of having accomplished something. I love that feeling. That's part of what I was feeling today in my yoga practice. It's funny that Amber brings that up because recently I've been talking about how I'd love to take up a handcraft, something like knitting or crochet or some kind of thing I can do with my hands but not have to think a whole lot. Somebody suggested I think it's called latch hooking. You make rugs, things like that, because my brain is always on. It is always on, and I'm looking for something to do with my hands that will cause me to focus, and I won't have to think too hard. But the limitation on that is that I don't want to collect a bunch of stuff. I'm really very much a minimalist, and so I'm not wanting to have a large collection of fabric or yarn or anything else that generally people think about going along with doing a craft. So I may be the world's most amazing knitter or the most amazing maker of rugs, but I haven't tried it yet, and I'm excited to choose something to do because then I get to feel that thrill of, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was so good at this. This is great. I had this skill inside of me all along. Looks like Nadia has joined us. Thank you so much. So I'm Danielle Watson. This is the Danielle Daily. You can catch me here every weekday during the month of October at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. If you're on Central Mountain or Arizona time, you're going to have to do your own math because I am not good at math. That is not a fabulous part of myself that I want to let fly. Math is not a fabulous part of myself, so I'm going to just let other people who are good at that do that. Julio says, I'm not using my musical gifts enough. I'm a music major, but I rarely get the chance to use that skill set nearly enough. I want to get back to the music. I love that. That is awesome. So yeah, I wonder how many of us watching right now, or even people who will watch the recording of this, have a musical talent that they're not using. I bet it's more of us than would be willing to admit it. Some kind of amazing skill. You might not be the best at it, but it's something you enjoy. It's something that can contribute to other people or to your own enjoyment, and you're just not using it right now. So music is a great one. I know that for a fact that Julio is excellent with audio. I'll share a little story. So yesterday I was broadcasting from the same location, and I was wearing this beautiful sparkly necklace, and the microphone on my headset kept rubbing against the necklace, and at the time I couldn't hear it, and everyone was so kind, and nobody called out that there was this horrible grating sound coming through the microphone. And Julio reached out to me and said, hey, I bet I could fix that for you. And he took the video and he fixed it and made it sound so much better. So although I can't do anything about the Facebook lives the live that happened yesterday, when I go to upload that video on my YouTube channel, the sound is going to be so much better. So I know he has a talent for audio. I love knowing that he also has a talent for music. So what other talents do you guys have out there? Nelson says, I play keyboards in a local band that performs for local retirement homes. Oh my gosh, but I really want to start doing some recording. I have the equipment, but just not the knowledge or how to use it. I just need to make the time and get some training. That's awesome. So we have another musician in our midst here, and I don't believe he's on the broadcast today, but Jeremy Freer, he was on the broadcast earlier this week. He is a teacher a professor in the music department at one of the local universities here in Virginia, and perhaps I could make a Facebook connection, Nelson, between you and Jeremy, and even if he's not the person to help you, there might be somebody he knows who can teach you how to use that equipment. I love the idea of you doing some recording. So what other talents and skills do you guys have? What parts of yourself are you not letting fully fly? You know, I started the broadcast talking about yoga and my yoga practice, and how even though I used to be a yoga teacher, I'd never done a handstand. There are lots of actually yoga poses that I never practiced because they weren't part of the style of yoga that I was teaching. And I was thinking today how I felt so free in my body, and it was so fun to put my hands on the ground and try to get my legs up in the air and try to do a headstand. And I was also thinking about how when I wasn't using my body to its fullest ability the way that I am now, I mean, I can do amazing, so much fun things with my body that I could never do before just because I didn't practice. But I was thinking about how when I wasn't using my body in that way, I had a lot of aches and pains. And I never really thought about it or made the association back then, but I think when there are parts of ourselves, whether it's our body or our skills or our gifts and talents that we're not using, we experience some kind of pain as a result. It may not be a physical pain, it might be an emotional pain, it might be a mental pain. So think about how you might be experiencing things that are equivalent to pains in your life, and whether or not that might be pointing you towards, hey, there is a part of yourself that you're not expressing. There is an ability, a gift, a talent, a use that needs to be happening here, and that pain could be pointing you towards it. Julio says, Nelson, let's talk. So awesome, we've got a connection already happening there. I would love it if you guys would hit the little thumbs up and like this broadcast. That will help other people whom you are friends with find this. You can also hit the share button on the lower left-hand corner and just choose one person whom you're Facebook friends with who could use a little encouragement, who could use some positivity, who could use some inspiration, and send that to them so that they know that you're into this kind of wonderful, positive stuff, and that you thought of them when you saw this, not necessarily because their life is going poorly, but because maybe there's somebody like you who loves positivity. I'm seeing so many hearts going across the screen right now. Thank you so much, you guys. I love you. I appreciate it. So I'm about to give today's note to self in just a moment, but I wanted to give you another second. Is there any part of yourself that you'd really like to let fly? There's something about claiming it publicly that tends to light a fire under your behind to actually do something about it. You know, when I decided I needed to take up some kind of handcraft as a way to allow my mind a focus point so that it could rest, I posted it on Facebook to receive ideas, but mostly so that I would continue to pursue that, so that I would actually take action on it. So I encourage you to post something in the comments, whether you're watching the broadcast live or whether you're watching the recording. There is something to letting other people know something about yourself or something that you intend to do that will help you to actually follow through with doing it. So Nelson asks, Danielle, if I have aches and pains because I never exercise, should I start with yoga? I've never been athletic per se, but I would really love to start in that direction. So yoga is a wonderful practice. It's something that is accessible to all people at all levels of being. I remember watching a video about a man who he actually was a quadriplegic and he still did yoga, because yoga encompasses not just the physical asana practice, but also breathing practices and meditation practices. So he was a very active pranayama or breath practitioner. I think that there is a right yoga class out there for everyone. When I used to teach, I used to recommend that people try out 3 different studios and at least 3 different teachers, because the styles are so widely different. And something I noticed through my years of teaching is that there are many people who are yoga instructors who are former athletes, and they don't recognize that there are some of us who have barely used our body, and that it's not appropriate for us to step into a yoga practice at the level at which they would lead us through it. So I think starting yoga takes a great deal of self-awareness and allowing yourself to progress and develop through the practice very slowly so that you can enjoy it without ending up with an injury. Unfortunately, there is a great deal of research about yoga injuries because people just do too much too soon. But yes, a yoga practice is wonderful for aches and pains. Go out there, try some different places, try some different teachers, and just find the one that feels like it's a fit for you. So Mara is watching, thank you. It looks like Nancy Lukasic is about to claim a part of herself that she wants to express more. So she says, I want to develop my creative side by taking a painting class. I love that. So a painting class is a wonderful, wonderful way to tap into a part of ourselves that we want to express more. I know in my Facebook feed, and it's probably because I enjoy going to so many local wineries here, I often see ads for the sip and paint. So if you're not sure that you're ready to invest in a 6 or 8 week course or buying an easel and paints for your home, something like that might be a fun thing to do with friends and just kind of play with it and see how it feels. Nelson says, thank you for the tips. You're welcome, Nelson. Anytime, absolutely. So I'm about to give today's note to self. I want to thank each of you for being here today, for sharing this broadcast, for subscribing, for thinking of people in your life whom you know could use some positivity, who could use some inspiration, who could use some fun, who could use some encouragement to come out of their shells and use all their parts of themselves. I gave examples from my life of not using my body in my yoga practice and feeling pain because of it. I gave the example of not using my background in archaeology and not feeling, I didn't say so, but I honestly felt like there was a huge part of myself that was not being used, and I felt the pain of it in my heart, and I felt the pain of it when I walked around in the world, and I didn't really want to be seen because I knew there was this part of myself that I hadn't figured out how to use, and it was uncomfortable to me, and maybe I'll talk about that a little bit more on a future broadcast. So today's note to self, I actually encourage you to write these down, put them on a post-it note, display them somewhere where you will see them, whether that's on your car dashboard, my favorite place, the refrigerator, somewhere in your home. I know it's going to show up backwards because writing shows up backwards in the camera, but I actually wrote down today's note to self for you guys on a post-it note to just show you how I do this, and my handwriting is terrible. But today's note to self says, Dear self, freedom is found in celebrating all parts of yourself. Love me. So I'll read that to you again if you're writing it down. Dear self, freedom is found in celebrating all parts of yourself. So we've got musicians here, we've got people who want to paint, we have people who want to develop their DIY skills, people like me who are wanting to go deeper and further into their yoga practice. Think about the parts of yourself that you want to let fly, and if you didn't already, type them into the comments. Even if you're watching this broadcast after the fact and it's just a recording, there's something to letting people know what it is that you want to express more about yourself or you want to develop to a higher level in yourself. that will help you continue in that direction. I love it. You guys, the things that you put out there today, it's amazing how many amazing parts of ourselves that we carry around that other people don't know about because we just never talk about them. So one more time, today's note to self: freedom is found in celebrating all parts of yourself. Think about those amazing parts of yourself, celebrate them, utilize all your gifts and talents. I will be here again tomorrow, 2:00 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Like I said, math is not a part of myself that is well developed, so I'm not going to do the math for those of you who are on Mountain, Central, and Arizona time, or even Hawaiian time. So sorry, you have to do that yourself. But join me every weekday at the same time here on Facebook Live throughout the month of October. I encourage you to subscribe to these broadcasts because after October, 2 p.m. will no longer be the standard time. I'll be doing them at more irregular intervals throughout the week, so I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to pop in and join me. So until tomorrow, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate you guys. I have so much love for all of you. Go out there, let the parts of yourself that maybe you've tucked away fly, and I will see you then. This has been Danielle Watson with the Danielle Daily. Until tomorrow, bye. Mwah.